Let's talk about the new changes to the buyer brokerage firm's compensation addendum and the associated agreements that are being affected with these new changes about buyer compensation. Hey everyone, it's Nick McLean, owner of the Nick McLean Real Estate Group, and I saw this coming years ago when they started talking about this lawsuit about, transparency and buyer compensation to the consumer. So we knew this was coming and we prepared for it. And so in today's video, I'm going to help explain to you how you can talk to your clients and future buyers and future sellers and how to navigate these forms. See, when you take the forms training class, you learn the forms, but then you need to learn simplified language, plain English that will explain it to the novice, explain it to the buyers, and explain it to the sellers. Now, first things first, right? Nothing's really changed. This was always an option for us. We, as a buyer's agent, we could always get paid for our services above and beyond the commission. You can get hired by your client, right? So when you show a buyer a home, or prior to showing them a home or giving them real estate services, you could sit them down and go through a value presentation to them, a buyer presentation, articulate your value, and they could choose or choose not to hire you as their agent. Now, see, when someone hires a business or a professional service individual, they need to lay out the compensation and understand the deliverables and what they should expect and why they're paying for your services. But see, agents across the country, when they represent a buyer, they just stopped asking if they're hired, right? They stopped, going through that process and just showed them a home, and they would get compensated for selling the home based on procuring costs and the selling office commission. And so this just takes us back to the basics where we need to sit down with our buyers and articulate our value and have them hire us. And part of being hired is you need to go over what you charge. So first things first, everybody, when you represent a buyer, you need to know what you charge. I'm not going to tell you what you charge, but you need to know what you charge in the event there's no commission. If the buyer's going to pay you, what do you charge? That can be done in a buyer's agency agreement, or you can have a one-page agreement. Our office has a one-page agreement that we've created to establish that relationship, right? So now when that buyer hires you, you can show them anything: for sale by owners, new construction, off-market properties, homes on the MLS, and you're getting paid. And when you know you're getting paid, at the end, you can give everything you have to that person. See, a lot of agents hold back because they don't know if that buyer's loyal, they don't know if that buyer's going to use them, they don't know if they're going to get paid out, right? So establishing this relationship allows you to serve your clients at the highest level, and people will pay you for that. They don't want to have to talk to 10, 20, 30 different agents and have agents not be fully committed to them either. So let's talk about the buyer's brokerage firm's compensation addendum. This is the 41C that everyone's talking about. And, they're talking about the changes where, the buyer now knows how much you're going to get paid on the MLS. It's on Redfin and Zillow. It says what the commission is, right? And so we're assuming the buyer's going to ask you to kick them back or credit them part of your commission, right? And so there's credit to the buyer where you can actually reduce what the seller's already offering you or the listing agent's already offering you. You can lower it and give it back to the buyer, right? There's another one where you can reduce the buyer's brokerage firm. So you can just reduce your commission to make your buyer's offer look even better. And maybe your buyer asks you to do that, right? And they probably will if you've never established any hiring process or talked about compensation prior. So if this is the first time they're seeing compensation, it's probably a little late for you, right? So it probably behooves you to talk about compensation earlier. So there's those three options, and then there's the other option. So you can credit your buyer some of your commission, you can reduce your commission and give it to the seller to make your offer look better, or you can just other it, okay? But here's the thing, I learned this in negotiations. When someone changes the terms of a deal, means they've opened the door for other possibilities. And so here's the possibilities and here's the opportunity. Because compensation is out in the open with the buyer, you can now have a conversation about your compensation openly, right? And so here's the thing. You are no longer tied to what the selling office commission is. You are no longer subject to the mercy of what the MLS says. You are no longer, your compensation, your worth, your value is no longer tied to what's offered. You can actually offer services and value propositions above and beyond what's offered on the MLS, and you're worth it now, which means you can charge it. So don't forget that there's a box on this form that's been there for a while, additional buyer brokerage firm, right? So for instance, I can agree with my buyer that I charge 3%, right? The office commission is 2%, so there's a 1% difference. The buyer has agreed to pay it. I can fill out this form and state that the buyer's picking up the 1%. I'm getting 2% from the other firm. They've been notified that I'm getting compensated by two parties. It's on the purchase and sale agreement. It's 100% transparent. And the listing agent understands that you have that opportunity. So this is a great opportunity. I'm talking to agents and broker owners across the state, and they're excited. The top performers are excited because they know they're above and beyond the average agent, and they're gonna start charging for it. So I predict you're gonna see agents making 2, 2.5, 3 or more in commission to represent a buyer, right? So that's the opportunity, and I want you guys to understand that. Now on the listing side of the business, compensation is now, your commission. You can negotiate or add in a layer of, well, what happens if the buyer's not represented? Or what happens if I have a dual agency, right? Is the commission reduced or is it different? You can negotiate this here. It's your choice. There might be a variable way you get paid, right? And that's what I'm listing. On the purchase and sale agreement, page 1, you put what is offered in the MLS. So your buyer, when they write the offer, they're gonna see how much you're getting paid, right? That's not a big deal. It's not a big deal at all. I don't know what the big deal is, right? People are freaking out. I'm talking to brokers all the time. They're freaking out over this. Listen, it's not a big deal at all because you want them to know you get paid. It's very important. Have you ever had a client or friend or family member or a lead that you were working with, right? You were showing them homes for days, weeks, months, and they bought a home without you? And then you called them up and you're like, hey, you bought a home, I feel really hurt. And they said, oh, I'm sorry. You were a little busy, I couldn't get a hold of you. They did that because when they're looking for homes, they're thinking about themselves. They're not thinking about you, right? And they certainly didn't realize the impact that compensation has on your life. See, buyers are noble. They want you to get paid, but if they think you're not getting paid or it doesn't really matter, then they're just going to use whoever they can use. So what I found in my business is when I'm working with buyers, I want them to know that I am compensated based on a commission. I get paid on commission, and I only get paid if I provide you a result and if I'm part of the transaction. If I don't write the offer, show you the property, write the offer, give you the value, and you close, I don't get paid. And what I get paid for is getting you there. Also, what I get paid for, or why I need to get paid, is to pay my bills, pay my dues, pay for my training, grow my business, put food on the table, pay my mortgage. I got bills too, right? And I'm willing to sacrifice, or not sacrifice, but risk my time, my money, my gas, my cell phone, my bills, not knowing when it's gonna happen. I might have to show you homes for a year, right? But I'm willing to do it and get compensated at the end. But I need from you a commitment that you're gonna use me. Now, if you're not gonna use me, that's okay too. Fire me, let me know. How many of you work with buyers and then they just ghosted you? They stopped calling you, right? You didn't establish a relationship, an agency relationship where they have to break up with you. They have to literally call you because you never established anything. So this is really like an amazing thing for our profession. I think it's going to elevate our professionalism and not like hide the fact that we get paid on commission. Like half of the industry has been hiding the fact we get paid on commission, and the other half, the listing side, has to face the facts, right? So we have the listing agents do the dirty work and negotiate the commissions, and the buyer's agents just pretend we don't get paid, right? No, it's better that we all are, as a professional whole, say we get paid on commission, right? And we're not ashamed of it, and we're gonna earn it. And here's what it is. And what I think the top performers are going to do, I'm going to say it one more time, is they're going to do even more for the buyers. Now that they get to justify a commission or go earn it, I think they're going to articulate it. I think their service level is going to go through the roof. I really do. I think they are. And don't underestimate what people are willing to pay for your services. I mean, people love it, pay for an experience, they pay for how they feel. If you look at the difference between like a Hyatt or a Hilton and a Four Seasons, like they're great hotels, but Four Seasons is gonna get $200, $300, $1,000 more a night, and people happily pay it for the service, for the experience. So get out there, get trained, know how to talk to your buyers, know how to talk to the sellers, right? Know how to talk to the listing agent, and go out there and earn your commissions and have that conversation. So if you guys have any questions about these forms, or you're really struggling with how do I talk to that buyer, how do I talk to that seller, what do I do if the buyer said, hey, would you lower your commission? Can I get a kickback? You know, reach out to me. Let's talk through it. There's definitely ways to handle those objections, and you'll get through it. You really will. And we're going to be better for it. So reach out to me. Let me know if you need help.